As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICANN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICANN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
Good evening, professional colleagues, and this is the part 2 of the special edition of the ICANN on Air for 53rd AAC. And now we have just concluded the AAC, but we have, of course, gala in the evening. We have other colleges for you today regarding all we have been able to do in this conference, starting from the day one. If you have been with us on part 1, then you need to see what happened in the part 2. Stay tuned and don't go away.
Tax Romance, pay your tax online. That is the easiest way, yeah, to pay your tax.
Companies income tax, value added tax, tertiary education tax, pay with Tax Romance. For returns when due, pay your tax correctly and get your e-tax clearance. Pay your tax online.
My better people for Obodo Nigeria, I don't bring better information come give you now. To pay your tax now, it don't dey easy like ABCD. With this new Ogbonge platform where the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) don't bring come, then they call them Tax Promax. With this one, now for your house or office, you go just dey pay your tax. And if you want pay your tax, make you log into www.taxpromax.firs.gov.ng. This message now the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) they bring them for now.
Pay your tax online.
Security is key to national development and growth. No nation can be truly economically successful without peace and stability, or when its security is threatened. This is why we must perform our civic obligation of duly paying our taxes so as to provide the needed resources for government to secure our lives and properties. When we pay our taxes, government is provided with the needed resources to equip our security agencies for a safer Nigeria. The money we pay as taxes is used to purchase equipment and hardware, invest in intelligence and other sophisticated technology, as well as cater for the welfare of all security personnel. A secure nation is a prosperous nation. Nigeria is safer when we pay our taxes. FIRS, it pays to pay your tax.
I stand before you today with a profound sense of responsibility and purpose as the president of our great nation, Nigeria. It is an honor to address this esteemed gathering at the 53rd Annual Accountants Conference, convened under the theme, Nigeria, Imperatives for Inclusive Development. Before I delve into the critical matters at hand, allow me to begin with a moment of reflection and remembrance. We have lost a towering figure, a luminary, and an icon in the world of accountancy. the late Akintola Williams, the doyen of the accountancy profession in Nigeria, touched countless lives with his wisdom, professionalism, and unwavering commitment to excellence. His contributions to our nation's growth are immeasurable, and his legacy will forever be etched in our hearts. Today, we remember him with deep respect and extend our heartfelt condolences to his family, friends, and the entire accountancy community. Ladies and gentlemen, the theme of this year's conference, Nigeria, Imperatives for Inclusive Development, is both timely and poignant. It underscores our collective vision for a Nigeria where every citizen, regardless of their background, has an equal opportunity to partake in and benefit from our nation's progress. Inclusivity is not merely an aspiration, it is a moral imperative, an economic necessity, and a fundamental pillar of our national agenda. As accountants, you bear the profound responsibility of ensuring that financial systems and practices are not only robust and transparent, but also contribute to the broader goal of inclusive development. You are the custodians of fiscal integrity, the guardians of financial transparency, and the architects of financial systems that can drive equitable growth. I am pleased to acknowledge the Institute of Chartered Accountants of Nigeria, ICAN, for its diligent efforts in promoting accountability and transparency in public finance management through the ICAN Accountability Index. This valuable initiative, which assesses transparency and accountability in the 3 tiers of government, plays a crucial role in fostering good governance and inclusive development. Today, as I declare this conference open, I urge you to engage in robust discussions, share your expertise, and collaborate with fellow professionals, policymakers, and stakeholders. Let your deliberations be the catalyst for innovative solutions, transformative policies, and practical strategies that promote economic growth while leaving no one behind. Our nation faces an array of challenges and opportunities, from economic disparities to technological advancements, and from environmental concerns to global partnerships. I am confident that the collective wisdom and determination of the accountancy community represented here today will play a pivotal role in addressing these imperatives for inclusive development. This administration is committed to listening and learning from the expertise assembled in this room this afternoon. We look forward to your suggestions and recommendations on how we can collectively solve Nigeria's multifaceted challenges. Your insights and guidance are invaluable to us as we work towards a brighter future for all Nigerians. In closing, I wish to express my profound appreciation to ICAN for its unwavering commitment to the growth and development of our nation. Your contributions are invaluable to us, and your dedication is commendable. May this conference be a resounding success, filled with constructive dialogues and transformative ideas. Together, we will forge a path towards a more inclusive, equitable, and prosperous Nigeria. I hereby declare the 53rd Annual Accountants Conference officially open.
What's your perception about this ongoing conference, sir?
Well, very well organized, and I think the theme is very apt, particularly now when our economy is on the downturn. Inclusivity is very important. We need to get everybody involved, and I'm sure that is the way to go. But if you look at all of the tenets of having good governance and inclusivity, accountants must play its role. And there are no better professionals to do it than us. And I'm sure we will do it, we'll get the work done.
The theme is quite apt, appropriate. This is a new administration that has just started, both at the federal and most of the states. And I think it's important for them to understand the importance of what is required for inclusive development. So I think ICANN has really chosen the right theme at the right moment.
Yeah, it's a great event, and I'm quite delighted to be here to join this team of professionals. I understand you have over 60,000 members. This is a very, historic event where you guys are gathered, particularly the theme of the conference, which is Nigeria having an inclusive development. I think it's quite apt and a live topic for the moment. And we should all be involved and concerned about the theme of the conference.
Well, the topic is actually apt and quite important at this moment of our national development. We have to carry everybody along in the development of the country, both the economic growth and industrial development. Inclusive development is what we need now. No one must be left behind. Our development must be multi-status, irrespective of your economic status, your religious belonging, your ethnic or tribal sentiments. You must be carried along in this development of our nation.
There is no accountability without accountants. So you are at the heart of it all, but in terms of the system design, data, and compliance. Accountants are the heart of it all. So you have your job cut out for you. But more fundamentally, accountants must realize that they operate within a wider society and therefore be involved in the wider struggle to actually have a better society. Because otherwise, if you're cocooned in your tiny office and complaining that the rest doesn't work, of course, you got to be involved in seeing that the rest of the architecture works to enable your micro effort to bear fruit. Otherwise, we're in a vicious circle. Everyone just get involved or stop complaining.
Both myself and my colleague are here from the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales in the guise of our strong partnership with ICANN. So it's a pleasure to be here, and the focus for ICAW is about strengthening that partnership with ICANN through the pathways and membership routes which we have, as well as a joint scheme we're going to be launching around sustainability.
The theme of the conference is very apt, and I can say that it's coming at a very right time where a new government is coming in. Whether I would like it or not, as you listen to the first plenary session, you hear the lead paper presenter talking about what inclusiveness will do. Inclusiveness, transparency, and trust are the tripod for good governance. And I think that for me, it's coming at the right time. Most of the people that are out there are people that may be, I want to use the word, appointed to offices of responsibility, So if they take away the advice that His Excellency gave today, they are transparent, they account for the resources they give them, they demonstrate trust to the people that they are leading.
That we cannot have a better topic than we have now, knowing fully well what is currently happening to our nation in the area of developmental projects across the country. and that we need to see beyond ethnicity or group or political parties if we must have an inclusive development in Nigeria. Inclusive development in infrastructure, inclusive development in security, inclusive development in social welfare, inclusive development in agriculture. We need to ensure that we stay as one. And this current administration of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, I've said it from day one, that is running an inclusive government. So for a topic like this to come into the intention of this particular present administration, we cannot have it better. And if you listen to the ICANN president, he said he made wider consultation before arriving at this topic. He makes sure that people who need to know, who need to understand the import of this topic have to have a buy-in. And he went round to ensure that he got everybody on board. Because so that at the end of this particular conference, the output of it will be transmitted to relevant agencies of the government to know the position of things as far as we are concerned as a country. So it's a topic which I think is very good, is very apt at this point in time, and I believe it's the right step in the right direction.
Thank you very much. I will now call His Excellency, a colleague of mine, to please mount the podium and let's say, sit on here if you want to.
Thank you very much. The President of ICANN, my colleagues on the panel, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. First, quick apology. The airline that brought me this morning, that's normally not late, decided to have a 30-minute delay because they couldn't get fuel. So that's partially responsible why I came in slightly late. I want to thank ICANN and the management of ICANN for putting this amazing annual event together. I am not surprised at all, but I think this year is special for you. This year is significant because you lost your doyen, Chief Akintola Williams. And I think it's an occasion to remember him, appreciate him, and thank him for what he has done for the accounting profession in Nigeria. Back to the topic. I think for me, I'll want to look at it from my perspective as a politician, although they don't agree I am. And the way I interpret the topic is, first, how do we, as a group, as a society, as a country, with the extent of resources we have, with the kind of diversity of our peoples, of our land, of our opportunities, how can we put all of these diversities together for our own development as a country? How do we continue to explain where we are in terms of where, what we should be doing in terms of economic growth, in terms of, environment? How do we continue to explain, why we're where we are today? A lot has been said, but I think for us, let's reflect on where we're coming from. 60 years ago, were we more or less diverse than we are today? How come we were able to, 6 decades ago, compete globally with our peers and almost dominate our continent? And in every ranking today, you are looking for where Nigeria stands in the world. So is that same diversity that, propelled our economic growth, our prominence as a country 6 decades ago? Are we more diverse, or is it that there's so much more diversity that has been added that has now made us recede as a country? So whatever the arguments, I think we should just focus on what I call the core issues of managing our diversity. And for me, at the core has been the issue of governance. We are not the most diverse country in the world. We're not the most diverse country in Africa. Why are we then lagging behind? Why are we not able to mobilize and utilize the opportunities provided by our diversification to propel our country forward? You can't find this aggregation of professional accountants, I'm not talking about professionals, anywhere on our continent and in some other continents. And so with this quality of resources we have, how come in terms of, every major indices in the world, Nigeria is lagging? So we must focus on the issue of governance. Why have we not been able to elevate the quality of our governance to mobilize our people and mobilize resources, our resources for growth? How come as a country today, 6 decades after, we are still so dependent on the rest of the world for things that drive our basic existence? How do you have a country with, the endowments, in terms of energy endowments, not able to supply energy, electricity, to just drive its industrialization? So when you talk about diversity, it's in everything. Whether it's in economic resources, our energy mix, whether, just take energy, for instance, where the rest of the world is. We have gas, we have, renewables, we have coal, we have, hydro. Meanwhile, as a country, we're not able to produce more than 5,000 megawatts of power for 200 million people. So I think we should just look at the issue of governance. How do we ensure that we have a process, an electoral process, that produces or gives us people who can help us manage our diversity? And it's across the board. As a governor, I see it in the local governments. I see it at the state level. I see it in Abuja. So it's not about trading blames. There is something that we must understand has happened to us as a country that we need to begin to revisit. The other issue I would like to, which is tied to the issue of opportunities, good governance, is one of meritocracy. So even in diversity, even in trying to create opportunities, how do you make sure you create opportunities for the best in the society? So whether it's, yes, you want to introduce a quota system so that you can give opportunity to a wide range of citizens to participate. But even in implementing that diversity, can you not sift to make sure that the best from those areas are the best that you put in these opportunities so that they can produce and provide for the general good? For us in Edo State, in the last 6 years, diversity has been something that's of concern to us. So whether it's gender-based diversity, whether it's ethnic-based diversity, whether it's resource-based diversity, we've deliberately ensure that we undertake policies that will help reduce, the incidence of conflicts as a result of our diversity. In terms of governance, for instance, almost 50% of our permanent secretaries are women. And so the idea of saying, oh, no, certain roles and responsibilities must be reserved for certain gender is history. We have emphasized education, and education at the basic level, because we realize that once you shut out, with poor education, you shut out so many people from opportunities. And the next thing is, rather than look at competence, it's where you come from. But if everybody is educated, and not just education, quality education, making sure that we get rid of learning poverty. We've also looked at the issue of just making resources available across the breadth of the state. For those of you who know Edo, there's a piece of Nigeria in Edo. We have Yoruba-speaking people, we have Igbo-speaking people, we have, Muslims, we have Christians, we have Ijaws, all major ethnic groups in Nigeria are represented in Edo State. And therefore, in undertaking policies, we've tried to elevate decisions to one based on merit, competence, and performance. You cannot get into the civil service of Edo State today, doesn't matter where you come from in the state, without taking a competitive exam. You cannot become a permanent secretary without going through a process. The only exceptions we grant to people is when you make a first class from any university, accredited university, then you have an automatic job. That's the only exception we give. So you must continue to expand the space. You must continue to expand the frontiers, create more opportunities, and it's only when there's abundance that this whole issue, the tensions that arise from diversity are reduced. I think I'll stop there and give other panelists some time to express themselves.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency. Thank you very much.
Tax from birth, pay your tax online. That is the easiest way, to pay your tax.
Companies income tax, value added tax, tertiary education tax, pay with tax program. For returns when due, pay your tax correctly and get your e-tax clearance. Pay your tax online.
My better people for Obodo Nigeria, I don't bring better information come give una. To pay your tax now, it don't dey easy like ABCD. With this new Ogbonge platform where the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) don't bring come, then they call them Tax Pro Max. With this one, now for your house or office, you go just dey pay your tax. And if you want pay your tax, make you log into www.taxpromax.firs.gov.ng. This message now the Federal Inland Revenue Service (FIRS) they bring am for now.
Pay your tax online.
As a finance professional in a disrupted business landscape, what does it take to be in demand? What does it take to attract great paying international roles? If you're an ICANN member, it'll just take one exam. That's all it takes to complete the globally recognized CIMA professional qualification and the internationally respected CGMA designation. As a CIMA member and a CGMA designation holder, employers will look at you as a finance professional, constantly acquiring new skills to add value to the business. That's why they'll be willing to pay premium to hire and retain you. If you have 5 years of relevant experience and are an ICANN member, you can directly sit for the final exam of the CIMA Professional Qualification, the Strategic Case Study Exam. Start studying the CIMA Professional Qualification. Prepare to make an impact.
As the lead in FRC, what would you say can be the collaboration between ICANN and your organization?
The partnership between FRC and ICANN has been very good, very strong. In fact, it has been enhanced by the new president, Mr. Innocent Okosa. He not only paid a courtesy visit to the Financial Reporting Council, he also provided some material support to the council from ICANN. And we also were able to sign the long awaited instrument of delegation between FRC and ICANN that will allow ICANN to carry out audit quality review for some of the audit firms. That instrument of delegation has been outstanding for the last almost 3-4 years. And it was gladdening that during the current president innocent that agreement was signed.
No, I think it's a fantastic conference, and the theme is so apt. We know that we need to get this country on the development track, and the theme of the conference itself says it's inclusive development. So recognizing the fact that there can be fragmented development and growth that doesn't trickle down to everyone. So the conversation we're having at the conference, and particularly the first two sessions we've spoken about accountability, trust, and transparency in government. And the session that just ended is around rethinking Nigeria's economy. So we've gotten to that point where everyone seems to have aligned that we need to do things better. Whether it's from how we collect, how we administer, how we spend, how we demand, how we account, and a whole lot of gamut of the elements and the pillars in our economic management. So we've gotten to that point where we're having very insightful conversations on what we can do and what inputs can we make to and submission we can give to the government to ensure that we do things better and we get this economy on the right track.
I think this topic is coming at the right time. We have hit the base. The only thing remaining for us to start digging ground to go down. So for us to stop digging ground, we need a conference like this where idea will be generated on how Nigeria can begin that growth up. So in the budgeting process, in the way you can generate more revenue, in the way you can also manage your resources better, I think that it can be better than now. It is the right time for us to have this conference and discuss an issue like this.
Okay.
The takeout is that Nigeria is possible. The new Nigeria is a possibility, and we all must work towards that. Gone are the days when we just play numb and not bother about what is happening. It's affecting all of us. Recently, I was just reviewing our GDP, one of the largest in Africa. And then I was looking at our per capita income, one of the lowest in Africa. We are talking about revenue optimization. Any optimization that does not optimize the well-being and the lives of the average Nigerians is inadequate and is faulty. So we are looking to structural reforms that will enable the public sector optimize revenue, diversify it, enhance the portals, and when that revenue comes in, ensure that it is used for the good of the common man.
I think it's a very, very apt theme because what we're talking about here is development that carries people along. We don't want development that just stays at the top. The challenge of our country is that we have a teeming population of people that are feeling left out of the economy. So this theme is all about how do we focus on making sure that we're carrying people along, hence the emphasis on inclusivity. And it's also, when you look at inclusivity, it's not just the general population, but also looking at specific segments that have been previously underrepresented or disadvantaged.
I think, both the theme of the conference as well as the gathering of accountants from all over Nigeria and even from outside the country is actually a very commendable thing, and it's happening at the right time because at this phase of our nationhood, we need all the ideas, all the knowledge, and more importantly, all the support we can get from institutions such as ICANN, because ICANN has the knowledge to help us address issues around budgeting, accountability, and fiscal discipline. So I do think that this is happening at the right time. What I would encourage is that we need to go beyond talking and producing ideas to really follow up to ensure that those initiatives are indeed implemented. And maybe at the next AAC, we can then say, last year we recommend this has been implemented. It's a way of holding ourselves to account as well as holding leadership to account for good governance in line with the theme of the conference.
Declaring this exhibition the 53rd ICANN Annual Conference open with the promise that Edo State will exhibit next year.
Excellent perception about the ongoing ICANN conference that we have been to.
It's amazing. I think it's the largest gathering of black accountants anywhere in the world. So it's history. I'm very pleased that with the President you've kept the standards, and it can only get better and bigger.
And on the paper that you presented about equity, about inclusivity and others, national development, what's your take on it, sir?
That at the core of our national development is the need to make sure that the diverse elements, the diverse sections of this country are brought together and for them to contribute to our national development. That is what ICANN is about.
And lastly, what's your advice to ICANN as an institute on how we can better contribute to governance in Nigeria?
That we need ICANN, its membership at this time in Nigeria, to ensure that we build a country, build a system that rests on accountability, on transparency, and on good governance.
All right, it's still the annual Accountants Conference and is the 53rd of its kind, happening live at International Conference Center. So right now we're going straight into the launch of the ICAEW and ICANN on the Sustainability Certificate launch. I hope you've been having fun so far. I hope you've been having an enlightening session with us. So we'll go right into the launch of the ICAEW and ICANN collaboration.
ICAEW has been working very closely with ICANN, and just before Christmas last year, the ICANN leadership were in London at the Chartered Accountants Hall to sign a renewed memorandum of agreement with ICANN, which will form the basis on which we will cooperate, work together, and strengthen the professions in Nigeria as well as in the UK together.
Now, from ICAEW's perspective, sustainability is at the heart of our strategy, it's at the heart of what we do, and the heart of our vision to create a world of strong and sustainable economies. We cover broadly 6 areas which are our focus around sustainability, so producing insight and know-how for our members, and that includes our joint members between ICANN and ICAEW. And I would encourage you to tune in to our Climate Summit next month, which will be an example of that.
might. And therefore, we give glory and thanks first to God Almighty. I will also give thanks to you, the participants, because without you, there will be no conference. Please let us clap for ourselves. That we are able to achieve this number is because of you. If you did not register, there is no way we will achieve this number. So please give yourself a hand of applause. We are deeply honored by the presence of His Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, GCFR, President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, ably represented by the Minister of Power. Okay. Before I assign another portfolio to him. Okay, we declared the event open. We are also appreciative of the presence of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, the governors of Anambra State, Edo State, Jigawa State, the Minister of Budget and Planning, Accountant General for honoring our invitation. We fully appreciate the esteemed presence of the Royal Father of the Day, His Imperial Majesty, the Ooni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Enitan Ogunwusi Ojaja II, CFR, for gracing the occasion, and the 14th Emir of Kano, Emir Sanusi Lamido Sanusi, ably represented. I will leave the Vice President of the Institute to do justice in acknowledging all those that graced the occasion in his vote of thanks. I will not end without giving a special recognition to my wife. Mrs. Barrister Florence Okosa. For all her support. Finally, special recognition goes to an appreciation goes to the planning committee of the 53rd Annual Accountant Conference, led by Chief Chibuzo Ayaniji, FCA. Supported by the effort of the Secretariat, heavily led by the acting registrar and chief executive of our great institute, Mr. Mukaila Lawal, FCA. I will also acknowledge the presence of the ICAW team that flew in all the way from England to grace this occasion. And finally, let me recognize the Dean of the Management School, Pan Atlantic University, Dr. Oni, who has graciously been listening to the conference. Madam, thank you for being with us. And finally, I I appreciate all the fellows, all the associates, and all of you who has made it possible for us to get the kind of attendance that we got in this conference. I owe it to all of you. Please, a round of applause for all of you. And thank you, and thank you, and thank you.
What's your perception about the whole conference as it is?
I mean, if you look at the quality and the quantity of participants at the conference, you cannot but be amazed. Number one, the conference director did announce that we had the largest number of participants ever, the largest gathering of chartered accountants ever in one location in Africa, over 8,000 of our members coming to this conference. And if you also look at the quality of the faculty, right? We had 2 sitting governors coming, we had sitting senators coming, we had 2 ministers of the Federal Republic coming. That has been a massive participation and involvement, and a lot of other public figures, government functionaries, captains of industry.
A conference that has examined a very topical issue in the country, Nigeria, the imperatives of inclusive development. And we all know what the country is grappling with now, what the citizens are going through as a result of the economic policies that government has introduced in the system. And we know we are having inequality ever before these policies were introduced. As accountants, we've agreed that we have a role to play in enthroning inclusive development. So this conference has gathered experts from all fields to examine that topic, Nigeria, the imperative of inclusive development. And we have seen the various dimensions the discussion has gone. One lesson we take away from the conference is that only accountants can make inclusive development possible.
We have been able to use ICANN on Air as a medium of interaction, as a medium of exchange of ideas and insights, and it has been very impactful on our members. We keep growing our numbers, our viewership numbers within each episode. What we are hoping to do and driving going forward is to explore further how we can leverage technology, how we can leverage the social media, how we can achieve more contact points with our members so that more people will tune in, participate in it, and we can reach a greater audience. So ICANN on Air for me has been very good, but there is actually a lot more we can do. I mean, imagine the fact that we have 60,000 members to start with. If each and every one of those 60,000 tune in every week and they call their friends, like you always see on the show, Tosi, call a friend to call a friend, the positive multiplier effect is going to be profound. And as we gradually do that, ICANN on Air will also be a voice of public discourse.
ICANN on Air will attract advertisement from companies because of the number of people that are listening to ICANN on Air. It could be a very good advertisement point for corporate bodies like the banks, like the breweries, like the cement companies, and that's my wish for ICANN on Air.
I'm sure you have enjoyed all the videos, all the pictures, all about the 53rd AAC. It's been a fantastic outing. It's been a wonderful program. Of course, it was well attended by the high and mighty and by more than 8,000 members of our noble institute. And even if you are not in Abuja, I'm sure you have actually seen what has transpired at the AAC. Thank you so much for being part of with us in this edition of ICANN on Air. Till next week, when we come your way again, see you. God keep us and keep us safe. Thank you and good night.